Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. My name's Matt Dillon. We are going to talk about lead to cash in our series. This is part 2, which is really centered around Sales Cloud and Customer 360. But prior to that, let me tell you a little bit about myself and our experience with Salesforce. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 17 years in various technology stacks, but predominantly working in Salesforce and connecting those stacks to Salesforce technologies. Total amount of years is about 23 in the IT industry. So I've worked formerly as a sales manager in business development and channel management prior to starting our firm. And we have about 100 clients in various industries throughout the United States and globally. So we're excited to share our lead to cash vision with you and hopefully provide you some insights on how Salesforce can become that lead to cash platform. So one of the things we like to talk about in terms of lead to cash is really focusing on how the traditional models are going away in those siloed systems, and really what clients are asking for is more of an integrated data approach and seeing that across the entire organization. So everybody from marketing to sales to service to accounting can now see the same information and engage with clients effectively. And to do that, we really kind of have focused on a couple different areas. One is organizational efficiency and really customer experience, driving a quality engagement with the right amount of information needed to make that engagement both meaningful to you and the client. And so, really shifting from these old paradigms of having a ERP system, which was the system of record, to pushing that paradigm into more of a CRM, which is really seeing a customer 360 and seeing it from the sales and marketing side with a lens into the accounting systems. So if you look today, left to right, we work through a lot of engagements with clients on various forms, but predominantly we try and focus on trying to build a journey from Pardot into Sales Cloud and then into CPQ, service, and then oftentimes we get into project management or order fulfillment and accounting. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is provide the right information to these various groups inside a platform that give them access, whether they be in a desktop or in a mobile setting, or even extending it further into a partner community or a customer community. So again, what we do for clients is kind of sit down with them and understand the people, processes, and technology stack of Salesforce and try and figure out how to accomplish this vision. The part 2 that we're going to talk about today, since we've kind of already talked about marketing, is really the handoff then from marketing into sales and making sure those things are aligned. We really want to focus on getting salespeople engaged with good qualified leads at the right time and really nurturing and building that engagement through automated systems. So really focusing on how we can engage with content on our website, or how do we email that content and keep engaged prospects into our pipe, which eventually are going to create opportunities. So also streamlining the ability for activity management so our teams can, whether they be sales-driven BDR teams or SDR teams or actually closers, we work on tracking that activity so we know not only are we working on things, but are we working on the right things. And then, within Salesforce, building the functionality that we can automate workflow, that if particular personas that we're engaging with are clicking on certain pieces of content, that we're able to then make sure our salespeople are aware of that, understanding what they're looking for, so that when they have that discussion with them, they really can get to the heart of how to solve their problems. And then ultimately, we want to make sure we don't just have a desktop version of it. So Salesforce provides a native mobility in being able to work on a tablet or work on a phone just as you would be on a desktop. So there's no reason you can't see into that customer 360 or that lens if you're on a mobile device. So really that account 360 view, which is really kind of seeing where things are in terms of marketing and sales and service, allow not only your new opportunities to get generated and nurtured and engaged, but then also to look at cross-selling and upselling through account management techniques that allow you to say, these products and services were engaged and sold to this particular client. How can we further that relationship and expand that beyond those areas? So That really allows us to really focus on those key components and building that. And then ultimately making sure that when we do have an opportunity and we do start to sell, that we can create a handoff to our configure price quote team, which may be inside Salesforce or could be in a secondary system, that allows us to make sure that the quotes and the services and the products that are on those quotes are in alignment with our ERP and billing systems to make sure we're not having a reconciliation issue on the back end. So really, this sales and customer 360 is pretty powerful. We have to understand, though, that we're coming from a marketing journey that was built. So keeping marketing in line with sales is extremely important to the success of the process. And we want to make sure that the salespeople understand what marketing is doing to make their life easier. We really want to make sure they understand the acquisition, awareness, acquisition, onboarding, engagement, and advocate, and then the rinse and repeat process to make sure that we constantly want to keeping existing customers engaged and building that in there. So automating that and building it not only in new prospective clients, but also existing accounts is critical for this to be powerful enough and to really get a customer 360. So some of the things that Salesforce offers that are unique that really kind of focus on that is the ability to see that 360 through the sales console. And so the sales console is a way inside Salesforce that you're able to work efficiently on multiple areas, leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities, and enable that to build your workflow properly. It allows you to see accounts and contacts, but also the opportunities that you're working on, which might be new ones, or they might be the cross-sell or upsell, maybe even renewals. But ultimately what it's doing is driving your forecasting. So if everybody's doing their job in terms of updating their opportunities and seeing how we can cross-sell and upsell, then all that forecasting can be pulled together for reporting purposes. Super important in terms of being able to see into products and price books is the ability to have your ERP system synced with Sales Cloud. And that allows your CPQ system, configure price quote system, to drive those products and service bundling and to make sure you get that information in the hands of your sales reps when they're creating quotes. Activity management, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but is important along with emailing and calendaring because people live inside their Outlook or their Gmail systems for those functions. And we want to make sure that they're synced with Salesforce so that those individuals that are working and connecting and contacting customers or leads get that activity stored in Salesforce so we can see what that effort is. And then honestly, mobility and high velocity sales and chat are nice features that have built-in functionality with Sales Cloud that enable your sales teams to work more efficiently and effectively. So if you have salespeople that are mobile and they need to see information, they can access it through their phone. If you have high velocity calls and activities going on, HVS has a capability inside Salesforce to really focus on those high volumes of activities that are needed. And for those customers that are really selling an online service or have a online capability and want to have a chat feature, Salesforce has that functionality as well. So the Sales Cloud features build a robust lens of how you can look at the client data and how you can engage with that data for that interaction to be a success. How that ties into Salesforce's lead to cash is the ability for us to build those data points that are all connecting into Sales Cloud. So if you have information that's maybe in an external system and you want to pull that in, we can do that. Or if you have additional clouds that you're starting with beyond other areas of Salesforce that today you're working in, but you want to bring that in, we have that capability. So that architecture of how you would interact with Salesforce and building that journey of lead to cash inside your systems enable Salesforce to become a really powerful platform and enable you to really take advantage of the data that's inside Salesforce and external, and then to pull that together into one view. We really focus on a couple key areas that you can really kind of hone in on. And we see this a lot with existing clients that maybe aren't 100% sure on how to use Salesforce, but having an account-based strategy and new sales activity, there are some ways that you interact with the system's a little bit different. So what we really want to really think about is a complete view of the customer's history, contacts, communications, and all those things that you're engaging with, and not only one, but multiple people. So we can build account-based strategies to figure out what's the right person to talk to about the right thing inside there. We also have the ability to then tie in information on a social channel basis, or understanding how you're engaging with your clients. Are they a happy client? Are they frustrated because they maybe have service cases or issues that keep coming up? Or can you turn those into opportunities because they really just don't know how to interact properly with your solutions or technologies, or maybe some of your manufactured products? So again, all of these are insights that you have available to yourself through Sales Cloud if used properly. And then, really making sure that when you have that time with clients, that you're really making the most of it, and that your team internally knows how to use those data points to really drive that engagement. So really focus on those areas. Again, what we really try to do around Sales Cloud is based on the roles and your particular sales teams. What are the things that you need to do your work effectively, and how do you really want to use those data insights to build relationships with clients? How do you today look at how a lead get transferred from a what I'd call a prospect into an MQL, SQL, and then into a pipeline, closed stage one or closed lost, right? What does that velocity and life cycle look like? And how do you build for that in terms of your marketing automation and your Sales Cloud instance? What are the tasks and workflows that we could be building to try and streamline it, so we're not necessarily forcing manual entry, but also automating the system to drive behaviors that we want our sales team to really embark upon to be successful? And really think about new versus existing clients, and what does their journey look like, and how can you cross-sell, upsell, and expand that relationship with them. And all of that kind of comes back to measurement, right? And ultimately looking what at a C-level, at a mid-level management, and ultimately at a user level, do we want to be able to drive Sales Cloud KPIs and information, right? So are we tracking renewals? Are we tracking cross-sell, upsell? Are we tracking net new logos? And what are the KPIs that everybody's going to lock on to really make sure that it's a success, right? So look at key areas like, do we have marketing campaigns tied to each opportunity? If not, why, right? Consider dashboarding for all levels and get everybody to sign off on it to make sure that they're okay with that being a overall performance indicator. Integrating data points from all marketing efforts into the sales team so that we have that alignment from marketing to sales, and they're very much in sync in terms of a relay of information and engagement. And then, think about how to forecast this, right? Because we want to be able to drive planned behaviors around, revenues that tie to services and sales, but also to products and things that we may be wanting to do and pass into our ERP system. So making sure that that is aligned to the handoff that's going to happen later on when we do invoicing. And then make sure you have a sales life cycle. What's the expected velocity of a sale? What's the expected candor or cadence of a sale? What are the stages of those sales? So really kind of dissecting that and making sure that that's in alignment going forward.